Saskatchewan has a new partner in its lonely stand against the federal government's carbon tax.
I'm pleased to announce that Ontario will join forces with Saskatchewan and use every tool at our disposal to challenge the federal carbon tax.
Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe says the whole climate framework agreed to 2 years ago by every province but Saskatchewan is starting to crumble.
This Made in Ottawa carbon tax plan finds our nation now in this position. We have 2 provinces in compliance, we have 2 provinces in court, and we have the rest of the country not meeting the federal carbon tax backstop.
The situation is actually a bit more complicated than that. There are at least 3 provinces that look set to comply, 2 that intend to defy, and several that seem to want to fudge it. And it's that last group that could prove most difficult for the federal government. The courts will decide on Ontario and Saskatchewan, and most legal experts say Ottawa is probably on safe ground.
This case is a long shot. Nothing's impossible because judges are human beings, but based on the precedent of the last few decades, the chances of this winning are slim.
The province's case will not stand up. So that is the advice that we have been hearing.
And so Premier Gallant says New Brunswick will comply. But Federal Environment Minister Catherine McKenna says she thinks New Brunswick's plan comes up short because it puts a price on carbon only for big emitters, not for ordinary consumers.
Well, with all due respect to Minister McKenna, I think she has other provinces that she has a lot more trouble convincing to put a plan in place. So I would respectfully suggest to her that she focus on them.
Then there's PEI.
We've got a Prince Edward Island approach, which is to lower the price of renewables, and I think that's very interesting in terms of motivating people to live up to our climate change commitments.
But again, no price on carbon, and that falls short of the framework agreement. So while only 2 provinces are openly defying Ottawa in court, there may be others where Ottawa ends up imposing a carbon tax. And politically, some premiers may prefer having Ottawa do it than having to do it themselves. Evan Dyer, CBC News, St. Andrews, New Brunswick.